Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm here with another One Sheet Wonder template. I know I've been sharing a lot of these lately, but it's just kind of been what has been on my mind to make and the kinds of things I've been wanting to do. So this template as a printable PDF is available over on my blog, and there will be a link in the video description. I am using this older plaid paper from Fawn. It's no longer available. It seems like Fawn paper isn't available after maybe about like a year. So if you have a lot of old paper pads like me, that's kind of what I want to share these videos for. I want to show you how to use your supplies. If you happen to be wanting a new paper pad, that's fine too. But it makes it a little bit tricky to link things because, these paper pads aren't available anymore. There are some other Christmas plaids out there, and so I'll link something similar in the video description. But the template will tell you exactly how to cut the paper. I cut off a 4 by 6 inch chunk, then I cut that in half to 3 inches. Then I was left with a 2 by 6 inch, which I cut to 1 by 6 inches. Then I took the 1 by 6 and I cut it at 4, which left me a 4 by 1 and a 2 by 1. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of paper so that I can mix the patterns. These are single-sided patterns. You don't need to remember any of that. It's all on the blog. It's all the template. If you've been seeing my One Sheet Wonders before, you know that. You can get a PDF or you can just get individual pictures. You can save them to your Pinterest board if that's what's better for you, or you can print them out and save them in a sketchbook, which is what I like to do. Then I'm going to cut 1/4 inch mats, mats that are 1/4 inch bigger for all of the pieces. And this actually works really well with 8.5 by 11 paper without leaving a lot of scraps, because a couple of my pieces are 4 inches long, and so half of a 8.5 by 11 is 4 1/4, which I need to be the measurement on 2 of my sides. So I was able to cut it to like 3 1/4, and then if you cut that off the 11 inch width, you're left with this 3 1/4 by 8.5. And so then when you cut that in half, it gives you exactly 2 of the matting pieces you need. The paper cutting that I'm doing today will allow me to make 4 cards. You can cut the mats for almost 4 cards out of one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, except you're going to be missing one of the 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 mats. And so you're going to need a piece of scrap for that, unfortunately. But overall, it doesn't leave very much leftover scrap. I'm not going to be using my scraps today per se, but you certainly can reference some of my other videos, and I give you some ideas of what to do with the cardstock scraps that are left. There's no pattern paper scraps ever left with my One Sheet Wonders. That's the idea behind them. So I'm going to assemble these by putting them all on their mats, and then I did want to take a brief moment. This is the week of Black Friday, and a lot of crafting companies are going to have sales. A lot of these are small family-owned businesses, and so I certainly encourage you, if you are in the market for any crafty goods, to support these small businesses during this time when there's a lot of sales out there that you could choose to support. And I'm sorry if this sounds too salesy or whatever, but consider that the creators that you watch here on YouTube, myself included, we have affiliate links, and that's how we make some money from our videos. So if you're going to be supporting these small businesses anyway, consider clicking to them through the affiliate link shared with you. If you like and get value out of the things that a creator shares, myself or anyone else, I'm not even necessarily asking you to use my links, just that consider when you're making these purchases, if you click through to the people who are inspiring you, you get to support a small business and a creator who's bringing some value to you. So that's just my little tiny plug for all the buying that goes on this week and how you can use it to positively impact your community, i.e. the crafting community. All right, back to the card. I am sharing here that if you wanted to just use one pattern, that's what the card would look like. I think that's cute. I have no problem with that. But I also kind of tend to like to mix up patterns, especially from the same collection, because then I don't even have to think about it. They just match well. So I'm going to use the 2 different patterns on my card, but I just wanted to show you that it works both ways and that if you have single-sided paper, just go for it. This is a tailored expressions stamp set where you stamp a whole bunch of sentiments at one time and then you die cut a whole bunch of sentiments at one time. And they're all Christmas sayings. I really like this because it allows me to get a lot of sentiments really fast. And as someone who makes a lot of cards, having little parts of the process be a little bit faster can be really helpful. I also like die cut words, and I've used them a lot in these videos. They can certainly add a little bit of extra to some of these simpler cards. But in this case, I'm going to be doing some pretty extensive Copic coloring, or like I'm going to be Copic coloring a fairly large image, and therefore I wanted to keep the sentiment simple. I also wanted to use Feliz Navidad because I am trying to make some additional Spanish cards for the organizations I donate to. I keep the markers for a project in this bag. I wanted to show it to you because there are several marker bags out on the market, and I bought this one from Etsy specifically, like from an individual sewist, and it's quite large and high quality. But what's nice is to be able to keep all the markers. If I'm going to be coloring the image multiple times, keeping all those markers together can be really helpful so that I don't have to be like, oh, did I use E353331 or did I use E373533? You know, like I kind of generally remember, but having them all sort of stored together can make things faster. Also, and this won't come as any surprise to those who've watched my videos in the past, I like to keep be able to craft anywhere in the house. I have a sort of craft room, but I don't do all of my crafting in there. Sometimes I like to color while I colored one of these deer while I was watching a TV show. And so if I only have to take the markers that I picked for the project and put them in the bag, I don't have to carry my whole collection around the house, as that would be much more unwieldy. Okay, so Copic coloring here. This is a digital image from Streamside Studios, also on Etsy, because as I mentioned, I like to support small business. There's going to be, honestly, in the video description, very few affiliate links because a lot of the stuff I'm not affiliated with specifically. I don't make any money off of. I share what I like. I want to encourage you to use stuff. But in the interest, of course, of always being fully clear with you, I am on the Streamside Studios design team, so the owner, Sean, sends me the images, and I color the ones that I like. This is one of the ones that I thought was really cute and sweet and perfect for a Christmas card, so I decided to share it with you. Of course, I share many other stamps too, and I'll leave you a link to this in the video description, not an affiliate link. Okay, I'm choosing some simple shadows. Taking the E35 and just drawing really thin lines where I want the shadows to be. I'm generally choosing for the shadows to be at the back of the deer or on the right side of all of the different components of the deer. And then I'm also thinking about little drop shadows, like there being a little shadow on the neck of the deer or the body casting shadows onto his legs. Then I take the E33 and I draw a very slightly bigger line over my E35, my shadow color. Then most of my coloring will be done with the E31. When you're coloring a larger image, when coloring a lot of space, it is particularly important for you to make sure that your marker is really well inked so that you can get the nice blending that you want and there's no streakiness that can be left. If you feel like your markers, you aren't getting the blend that you want with your Copics and you've had them for a while, it might be that some of them are in need of a refill, even if they don't seem obviously dry. And that's what happened to me when I colored this image the first time with the E31. It really needed some extra. As I'm coloring the deer, the first time I went through and I colored the deer, I used multiple colors of red for the berries and multiple colors of green for the leaves. For the holly, I guess it is. And as you can see, it adds a little bit of depth, but the main part of the image, the main focus is on the deer. So if you need to save a little time, if you're making a bunch of cards for Christmas, I think areas like that, smaller areas of your image, are a great way to save time by keeping them more simple. Not like here, I'm going to be using 2 marker blend instead of 3 marker in some areas. I use just a 1 marker for the berries and leaves so that it could potentially be just a little bit faster. It doesn't save a whole ton of time, but it's also another way if you don't have a lot of markers in a range, like you don't have a lot of reds, but you still need a touch of red, you don't always need to have multiple colors for everything, especially the smaller images. Focus on the main part of your image and do all of your detail work there. I pulled in an extra marker for the face because, again, it's a large part of the image, but then I didn't feel like I needed it for the tail or the inside of the ears. I'm going to cut this out with my scan and cut, and then I want to pop it up a little bit for a couple of reasons, partly because this is a little bit thinner of a paper. Because it's a digital stamp, I have to print it out on my printer, and it doesn't take my really, really thick cardstock. Also, I'm going to be layering it over this sort of, I guess, sentiment strip, like the strip of pattern paper that works as the sentiment on the bottom. And I don't want it to kind of be bumpy over that. I want it to lay flat. So I'm going to put some cardstock that I've doubled up on the head and the tail, but not on the body, so that the head and the tail pop up and they don't have to like sort of be glued down to the paper and create a little bump from where the body is bumping over that sentiment strip. I hope that makes sense. My foam tape is really, like I said, just cardstock strips glued together. I showed you briefly there. I took 2 tags from a piece of clothing. I glued them together. I'm not afraid to use trash because it's being hidden behind all of this. And yeah, you can recycle that stuff, or you can just use it and not spend money on foam tape. As many of you know, I mention this a lot in my videos just because it's like one of the easiest things you can do to save a bit of money crafting. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pop up my sentiment. So I'm just cutting up some more of those cardstock scraps that I've glued together, and I'll adhere that down, and that's going to be it for my card video today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll leave you links to the products that I used and mentioned in the video description below. And I'll leave you a couple extra links to some of the other places that I'm affiliated with in case you want to use them for sales. But as you go through this Black Friday week. But thank you for all of your support here on YouTube, and I hope that you're getting some value out of my videos. Please leave me a comment. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.